Hello, this is Michael Novenson, Managing Editor with Information Security Media Group, coming to wrap things up today and joined by Wendy Wu, the Chief Marketing Officer at SailPoint. Now, Wendy, I know we've heard a lot today about identity as a foundational to enterprise security. From your perspective, how has that shift impacted the way that organizations think about both risk and resilience?
Yeah, great question, Michael. Let's just say the shift towards identity being the foundation of security has fundamentally really changed how organizations are approaching risk. And more importantly, how they should build resilience around their operation. For years, all we hear is security was all about protecting the perimeter. But with the rise of the cloud, hybrid work, AI, and distributed everything, that perimeter that we used to keep in mind has all but disappeared. Let's just be honest, right? And as a result, organizations are realizing that identity is the one constant across this very dynamic and complex environment. It's the common thread that ties together various components, including people, machines, data, and access. And when you govern the identity well, that means when you know who has access to what, why, and should they, that is where the real resilience comes in. And working very closely with CISOs and CIOs and all the business decision makers, we have seen this conversation shift. And identity security isn't just a compliance exercise anymore, which it used to be, right? It is now being recognized as a security must-have and a business enabler. Organizations that invest in robust identity security, they're able to reduce risks while increasing their agility, the operational continuity, and trust. And they're also able to see a much higher return on their security investment. And that is a super powerful combination, especially in a world where change is the only constant.
For sure, and we definitely have seen a lot of change here. Want to get a sense from you of what are some of the common misperceptions that you think exist around identity security today?
Yeah, there is a lot, but let's just say this. One of the biggest misconceptions is that identity security is just about access provisioning and deprovisioning. It is a back office IT function that's mostly about operational efficiency. Well, that was the case many years ago, and that may still be true today and are important capabilities, but that is only the tip of the iceberg of identity security for today, right? Today, it means identity security, it's deeply strategic. It safeguards your critical data and applications and systems. It's about risks, it's about compliance, and it's about enabling secure transformation. We have seen many large organizations accelerate their cloud adoption or M&A integration, all because they had very strong identity security controls in place. And identity is what enables all of that secure scalability. Another common misconception is that identity is something you can just set and forget. But in reality, identity is very dynamic. Access needs, they change constantly. There are new apps, new users, new roles, new threats coming up day and night. And you need a system that can actually adapt to that while ensuring the zero trust philosophy. And that is why SailPoint focused so heavily on AI, because intelligent identity is what can allow organizations to keep up with all of that pace of change and do so in a very secure manner.
Really important stuff there, Wendy. I want to see, why do you think a unified approach to identity security is so critical, especially for those companies who are at the upper end of the enterprise market with complex and sophisticated identity and access needs?
Absolutely. You know, for these super large organizations, complexity is the rule. It's not an exception for these companies or organizations. And you have multiple business units operation that runs globally, and oftentimes with different IT stacks and different access models and rapidly growing cloud footprints on different type of cloud environments. And When identity security is fragmented across all these diverse environments, you lose control, right? You lose the visibility, and now you open the door to risks. A unified approach brings all of that together. All of your identity data is now in one place that gives you one intelligent and consistent fabric to manage identity security. It lets you apply the policies and controls in a very scalable way. It also gives you a single source of truth for all the access with much better visibility and rich context. And that is super critical for both security and efficiency. At SailPoint, we work with some of the world's most complex enterprises. Those Fortune 100 companies with hundreds of thousands of identities or even millions of identities. And what they tell us is having a unified and intelligent platform has not only helped them improve their security posture, but also made them move much faster. They can now onboard users faster. They can detect access risks faster, and they can also respond to audits or incidents much faster than what they were able to do in the past. And in a world where speed and security need to go hand in hand, that is a very serious advantage they have.
And speed really is everything here. So I want to talk a little bit in terms of AI and automation, and specifically with AI and automation and the skyrocketing numbers of machines and agents hitting the enterprise landscape today. How do you see identity evolving in the next 12 to 18 months?
AI, agents, those are the buzzwords of the day. So I've been waiting for this question. We're entering a new chapter in identity, and one that is defined by the scale, speed, and intelligence. The number of identities in the enterprise, especially those non-human or digital identities, like the bots, service accounts, APIs, and machine identities, is exploding. And you heard this from our speakers earlier today. Many organizations now have more digital identities than human ones, right? And most of them are not well managed. That is a huge blind spot. Think about it. And it's going to become one of the most pressing identity challenges in the coming years. Forward-thinking companies that are already starting to bring those machine and agent identities under governance, they're not just creating an inventory of them, but they're actually managing and securing those identities. At the same time, AI and automation, they're helping close the gap. We're seeing customers use SailPoint's AI capabilities to make much smarter access decisions and to automate things that used to be very manual and error-prone. They're building dynamic access models that can adapt to user behavior, and they're getting intelligent recommendations that flag risks before it becomes a problem. That's where the identity is headed, toward intelligent automation that makes identity security not just scalable, but proactive and preventive.
And that proactive piece is really so important today across this whole industry. Want to get a sense from you of how can leaders build future-ready identity programs without getting overwhelmed by the pace of change?
Yeah, you're right. It's so easy to just feel overwhelmed, but there is no such thing happening in our space. The key is to really focus on the outcomes. Don't just chase every new trend or technology. Instead, focus your identity strategy on what your business needs are, such as secure growth, operational efficiency, right? Get ready for the regulatory compliance requirements, or get the transformation support you need. From there, you can look for a partner who can help you scale intelligently. That is where SailPoint comes in. We have spent over a decade helping global enterprise navigate identity complexity. Our platform is built to simplify with embedded AI, automation, and a unified approach to help organizations grow at their own pace. One piece of advice we always offer our customer is don't think of identity as a point-in-time project. It's actually a living and breathing program. We need to start strong, set a vision, and then show quick wins, and then build from there with the right tools, the right talent, and the right roadmap. And you don't have to do it all at once, but you do have to start with a good purpose.
It's very sound advice. And for those organizations who are just starting their identity journey, or ones who are rebooting it, where should they focus first?
Yeah, we tell our customers that you always want to start with clarity. And the first step in any identity security journey is all about visibility. And you cannot govern what you cannot see. So before trying to automate processes or roll out any policies, you should focus on gaining a full understanding of who has access to what across your environment. And that environment includes your people, your systems, your data, machines, and the agents nowadays. That visibility alone is often very eye-opening. Many organizations discover dormant accounts, over-provisioned users, or inconsistent policies that have gone unnoticed for years. And once you have that insight, then the next focus becomes how can you apply intelligent governance? You can apply the right level of controls using AI and machine learning to identify what's appropriate access and what's not. We often say, start with where the risk is the highest, where the value is the clearest, and go from there, right? Identity security doesn't have to be a big bang implementation. It can and should be iterative. You can focus on building a very strong foundation and expanding that with purpose, because the best programs we have seen, they're not just technically sound, they often have to be very strategically well aligned to your business outcomes.
It's so important there to keep the business in mind. Finally here, wanted to get any words of advice or inspiration for those who've tuned in today and are now heading back to tackle identity security in their own organizations.
Yeah, identity security is one of the most strategic investments you can make. It's not just for security's own sake, but it's actually for your entire digital future. We believe what enables you to move faster, you can scale smarter, and protect what really matters most. And today, that means you need to treat identity security like the strategic driver it is. Get the alignment at the executive level. You need to champion it across both IT and the business units. And you shouldn't feel afraid to push for modern, intelligent approaches, because there are lots of tools out there today that can help you turn identity from a challenge into a true advantage. And lastly, remember, you're not alone on this journey. Whether you're just starting out or looking to elevate your program, there are partners like us who live and breathe this space. We're here to help you along the way and to cut through the complexity to help you build resilience and help you future-proof your organization. You've got this, and we're here to help.